Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this live streaming. I think there's a time to celebrate because we are going to move into phase two, that is on the 19th. But remember, you still have to resume your social responsibility to make sure that you do all the necessary precaution. Last week, I was talking about embracing adversity. And by embracing the adversity, I mean that you have to confront the adversity and you cannot be intimidated by the adversity. By changing your mindset and make yourself from negative mindset into positive mindset. And that is the very important element before we moving into today's topic is called the closing impossible. Because if your mind says it's impossible, you become impossible. If your mind says that it's possible, it will be possible. Today, I'm not going to bore you with all the soft skills, but today I'm going to present to you all the facts and data to support my presentation to you so that you can use them to present to whoever that your clients to be your resale buyer or even a project buyer. And I hope that this is going to give you some educational process. At the same time, it can encourage you. Because today I'm going to present to you a lot of data and facts. So I put a disclaimer here. Every time when I give a public talk, I always put this slide there because all material contained in this presentation are intended for education and illustration purposes. It is not to constitute any legal, financial, professional advice. Or the rest, you can read it. But remember, if you want to share any information, you share at your own risk. If you're not sure, refer back to this disclaimer. And the contents of this presentation shall not be published, circulated, or reproduced without prior written permission from us. All right, so let me start. Just like I say that if you think that you are possible, you're possible. If you're impossible, you're impossible. But it begins with this. You must have the unshakable conviction before you want to convince others. There are many people, they come to me, how can I convince somebody else? And I always ask them one question. Are you convinced before even you want to convince others? If you cannot even convince yourself, it is not possible for you to send your message across to the other party with conviction. I think that is one thing that you must be sure. Whatever slide that I'm going to present to you, you must have the unshakable conviction and the belief that this is going to be true. Then you will be able to use it and make it effectively. You must have certain quality. First, you must be likable. When you're meeting somebody, you must be likable. You must be energetic, you must be pessimistic, and you must be full of passion. If people see that you are just like half-hearted, I don't think that people is going to buy you in. Because any idea that you want to send across to the other party, you must first define that, wow, this guy switch on. This guy is fantastic. I better listen to him. Now, the other one is influence. Influence is very important. How do you get influence? Influence, I mean, you have all the facts, all the power, the authority to make the other person to believe you, or you convert them. Now, many of us, we live in the circles of concern. How can you convert them from the concern into influence? I'm going to showcase later on maybe some of the facts and data, you'll be able to find clue how can you use them to influence other people. Now, this is very important, knowledge, because I always say knowledge is power. Knowledge will give you authority. Without knowledge, you will not be able to convey your message with conviction. Because with the knowledge to equip you with the power to change the other person's mind, and that is very, very important. Of course, you have the knowledge, but you just don't have the linguistic skill. Why I don't put it communication? Linguistic skill is something is different. You have to articulate. You have to be able to be assertive, because linguistic or language actually it comes from your content, and the content it comes from your knowledge. If you have the knowledge, you will have the power to persuade. So if you don't have this one, it is no matter how knowledgeable you are, you just become a professor. You'll not be able to convey whatever you want. You will not be able to convince and convict the other person. Now, I want to show you some fundamental analysis, because every time when we are going into any presentation, you must have some kind of a basis. You must have some kind of facts that you want to convince other people. Let me show you this one. I'm sure we have seen this one many, many times. You go into URA website, you'll be able to see this chart. And I have put in segment. You look at our property, this is the property price index since 1996, the first cooling measure in May. And you can see that when we went through many stormy weather. We have gone through the financial crisis when the property prices dropped by 42%, and by the third quarter of 1999, it rebounded 38%. But after that, we went into the dot-com burst, the Enron crisis, the NASA's meltdown, and we went into 9/11. The whole world was shocked. And after that, we have a localized or regionalized disaster, is the SARS. Now, after all this series of crises, the government has come to terms. Our economy, it cannot be subject to outside influence. How can we make our economy become more independent rather than dependent? So in 2005, April, if you want to check, you can Google it. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced that we are going to introduce 2 integrated resorts. That means casino. And you can see the yellow line there. After the introduction of the 2 integrated resorts, you can see the property prices shoot up like nobody business. The party was very short, because from 2005 all the way, maybe 2006 all the way to 2008, we faced the subprime. It was the biggest financial crisis of the lifetime. The property crashed and dropped until 2009. You can see that all the way to now, it was unstoppable. Now, this is the bedrock of the whole property market and property cycle. If you know, I'll put this chart in almost most of my slides, that you'll be able to refer to this particular chart. This is what I call I call the reference book. It's something like a Bible. That you look at this one, you'll be able to tell your prospect with confidence. Look at this. You see that all the way from 1996 until now, we have a CAGR, compound annual growth rate, of 4.8% per annum. So let me go into another one. Now, after the whole chart that you see, that was the macro view. And now I go into a little bit into the focus view, that is after 2008 subprime. You can see that the government have to impose many rounds of cooling measure. Altogether, 8 rounds of cooling measure. Was the property market tame? No, because every time when the government introduced a cooling measure, people rush in to buy. Why is that so? It's psychology. Because they would think that if I am not going to buy now, the government is going to roll out another round of cooling measure. So probably my loan to value, my ABSD, everything will be affected. Before the government change the policy, might as well I go in first. So we can see that all this event from here all the way, but it's still moving up from 2009 until now. It moved up even more than 1996. It moved up 5%. So now you look at this, why is that so? It's because Singapore, basically, financially, economically, we are doing so well. People just cannot stop wanting to buy property. You can look at the 10 years of the capital per capita. I'm talking about the per capita purchasing power in the past 10 years. We have moved from 66,000 to 101,000. And this is a close to 40% increase in our per capita index. Let's look at this one. In the whole world, our per capita at 2019, it was moved up by 4th position. We are only after Luxembourg, Macau, and Qatar. So this is to show that Singaporeans become richer and richer and richer. Now, we look at the world top financial centers ranking as at March 2020, and this one is by Long Finance. And the aggregate to get out this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, top 10 is all come from the 5 key areas. Number 1 is called the business environment. That means we have a very, very good business environment, financial sector development, and infrastructure factors. I think our infrastructure is world renowned. And we are talking about another one is so important is the human capital. That means you and I contributed into the human capital. And the reputation is so important. That means we are talking about Singapore has such a trusted and reputable reputation that the whole world actually admire. They are not only admiring our reputation, they are also trying to replicate our how we have been doing. Now let's take a look at this one. Now this is the household and fact sheet. I'm giving you this one as a a holistic view of why Singapore is doing so well in our property market, in our economy, everything. You can see that the population hovering at 5.7, 5.6 something. And we have maybe about 1.2 million foreigner, including the workers or even EP holder or the skilled workers. So the household size, the number of residents, and then you can see, let's take a look at this one. The home ownership. In 2019, it was 90.4%, and among the 90.4%, actually there's 78.6. I have a chart here. 78.6% are staying in HDB. We have 16.2% in condominium and 5% in landed. Now, there's a very interesting question here. Since we have so high of the home ownership, why every time when there's launches, it's always snapped up by local people? You have this question. I also have this question. I also want to find out why. We will look at this question and find an answer later. So why every new launches so overwhelming? Let's take a look at this one. In fact, it's very simple to understand. When we look at this chart, as I say that this is going to be my fundamental chart to show the property improvement. This is the bedrock. This is supporting the whole property market. You can say that, is it because the market moved, so that's why people go in, Or is it because people move in, people start to buy, that's why you create this chart? I think they both work hand in hand. They are all interrelated. Now let's take a look at the Xperience. Xperience, I don't know, I don't think that this is new to you because this is the top of the town in 2009. When they launched in March 2009, a lot of people say this is crazy. Right after Alexis in Alexandra Road, Alexis was sold out within 7 days. I happen to have playing some part in Alexis. I supposed to help one of my good friends to bring the whole Alexis to Hong Kong to do a launch there, because after the subprime, we are so afraid that the response is going to be lukewarm or even going to be a failure. But after 7 days, 100% sold. And later on, when we move on to Xperience, we are watching. Everybody is having a watchful eye on Xperience. Are you sure that Xperience can do as well as the Alexis? And I tell you, when they launched the medium price, it was about $580. And the selling was so overwhelming. Now we take a look at this one. The unit, I just randomly pick up anyone. This unit 0422, he bought it in March 2009 for $633 PSF during the launch, and he sold it in 2016 January with a whooping 54% profit. Let me ask you, what kind of investment you can get this kind of eye-popping profit? I don't think you can have any. You can see it in stock, in share, in bond, in currency, in commodity, anything, but nothing can give you 54%. So Xperience, you can say that, hey, Chipson, Xperience is one isolated case. Let's take a look at this one. Garden Vista. Garden Vista, it happened that, I have part to play in the purchasing and the selling of this property. A good friend of mine, I introduced him to the Garden Vista. He bought a unit in 2004 at the launch of 2,708,000. And after that, he said he wanted to sell. So I helped him to sell in 2009 for 1.18 million, which is close to $1,000 per square foot. And he made a whooping 58% profit. Then you say, oh, because he bought during a launch, so the one who's going to buy from him is not going to be so lucky. It's not true. The Mr. Lee bought from him for 1.18, and he resell it in 2019, this last year, August, and he sold it for 1.62 and making a 45%. He's making less than from the first buyer because he has the first mover advantage. But yet, he was making 45%. And to me, I feel that this is something fantastic. To him, he feels that it's unbelievable. Let's take a look at this one, Icon. Icon, I bought this unit in 2007 July. I paid a new benchmark price for $1,551 per square foot. And a lot of my friends say, Chipson, you're crazy. You bought your top dollar. Yes, I say I was quite foolish, but I bought it right after I bought my Icon. The subprime came in, and from 1,550, my Icon dropped to 1,050. Many people, particularly my son, say, Dad, you better sell it. You cut loss. I say, no, I'm not going to cut loss. As long as I calculate my cash flow is healthy, I will continue to hold. Now, true enough, by 2016, I sold my unit for 1,876. I make a 21%. Now, this is 21% if you are calculating on my equity. I have made much more than the 21% because the 21% is on my purchase price of 868 and I sold at 1.05. But if I take only my 194,000 as my equity and I sold with 200,000, my profit is much, much higher than that. Now, so when you're looking at this, you say that, oh, I should have gone in when it's launched. Precisely. When you are moving into the new launch, you become the first mover advantage and beneficiary. If you're waiting, like this one, Mr. Lee, he bought, did he make profit? Yes, he made lesser than the original owner. So let's say we go into this one. Now, we have this. We have this objection. You can say that, wow, prices are too high now. I am going to wait for the price correction. This is one of the biggest objections. Many people say that the price is too high now. How can I pay this kind of price? Is crazy. It's not possible. Let's go into it. Now we look at the new land cost. You know that in 2017 and 2018 we have this en bloc fever. The phenomenon has pushed the land cost to a new height. Let's take a look at this one. Now when we are, oh sorry, I think new land cost. Okay, sorry. Because the Google slide, my hyperlink is all jumbled up. Okay, now let's say take a look this fact sheet. This is a fact sheet that I compile for me to present to those buyers who are coming to view the property that I market. And many of them, they say, Chipson, how can I pay for this kind of price? You look at the valuation when they're marketing Ocean Park, asking price 3 million, and then her valuation is only 2.65 to 2.7, which we're talking about 300,000 different. When I show her this table, let's take a look at this table. When we are talking about Mayfair Garden, when the en bloc, the PSF, PPR, it was 1244, and the break even is supposed to be 1793. And add in 15%, you have to sell at $2,000. And you can look at that. The Mayfair Garden today, the median price until the time when I tabulate this table, it was an average of median price at $1,964 per square foot. And we look at this, Amber Park, median price was 2483, and their break even is 2118. So now this table actually I prepared long before the project were launched, meaning that the moment they go for en bloc, successful en bloc, once I know this PSF, PPR, I will work out a sum and put it into my database. So I will be using this one as a reference when I'm doing any marketing. I'll use this table to show the potential buyer this should be the new price. Now then they say that, well, that is all correct. I'm using this one to convince my buyer to buy the Ocean Park 230,000 above valuation. Because of that, she need to come out altogether 680,000 cash just to buy the Ocean Park. Now, this is a very powerful tool to convince the buyer. They say that, no, I want to wait for the price to drop. Just ask them one question. If you are the owner of the Ocean Park, will you compromise yourself to go into selling at 1050 per square foot, where Amber Park projected new launching price is to be around 2004? The answer is no. I don't think any with right frame of mind we say that, okay, I think I want to sell at 1001. If I can't get it, I just don't buy. It's so simple. This is why for those resale agent, you find that you are being stuck at the price different. It's so much different, because even you're talking about Ocean Park today at 3 million, you're talking about it's only 1,003 compared to Amber Park of 2004. It's a lot of different. So let's look at another one. Field today is called the Park Esther. According to the PSF PPR is 1391, and it has to sell 15% profit at about 1599. But you can look at the Park Esther. We are one of the marketing agent. The median price is 1690 per square foot. Now you look at this. This is a Pacific Mansion. The break even, it should be 2467. If add in 15%, it should be 28537. And a winner is selling at 3255 medium price. This is transacted. Then you say, oh, because this is en blanc, because en blanc normally they are asking higher price. Okay, let's look at the GF, the government land sale, GLS. We have the Sterling. The Sterling, it was a new price range which hit 1B. The developer from China paid 1 billion to buy this land, this piece of land. And according to my calculation, that it worked out to be break even 1561 with 15%, it should be 1795. But you look at the median price. The median price is selling at 1883. I look at this price, it is a very reasonable price. Now we look into another one, 4th Avenue. 4th Avenue, when they sold it successfully, I already come up this table that they should be marketing at 2470 plus minus. And look at this one. Their medium selling price is 2327. So there is an 11% markup instead of 15%. Look at this one. Cascadian Road. Now it's called Cascadian Reserve. According to my projection, it should be 3626. And now they're selling at medium price at 3511. So when you're looking at all this, you will know whatever it's been done, it cannot be undone. That means the high land cost is here to stay. There's no way that we can go back to say, oh, can we buy at 1,002 PSF? Can we buy at $1,000 PSF? No, this is already long gone. Then you say that, what about the cooling measure? Do you know the cooling measure, what the government has put in the cooling measure has a very, very good effect on what we are seeing the market now? Because you can see the cooling measure, they introduced the ABSD. ABSD actually stem out all short-term speculators. I used to help owner to sell a unit in Emerald Garden for 300,000 profit within a month. And this is already stem out. Loan to value, you can see the loan to value actually is giving you a very, very safe equity. That means when you the borrowing becomes safe, the bank is not subject to overexposed. Let's take a look at this one. Now, if I'm looking at this one, for those who do research, you know that the household balance sheet for Singapore, it represents how wealthy is our economy. Now, let's look at these, the non-landed PPI. You're talking about the OCR. Since 2013, I put 2013, the TDSR as a benchmark. That means after the government introduced in 2013 the TDSR, you can see all the 3 different regions, the power line, that means you're talking about annual average, is going almost flat, except the OCR slightly improved a little bit. But you look at this side, our GDP for the past 7 years, it was 32%. Household net worth 39%. And we have increased a lot in our saving in CPF. But you can see the residential property asset is only 34% for private housing. But look at the mortgage loan. It's only increased by 20%. Whereas financial institution increased only 22%. What does that mean? That means our cooling measure actually has retarded the property exorbitant growth. So let's take a look at this one. And when you compare the property appreciation in the past 10 years, I would say that among Hong Kong, Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, Japan, and Singapore, we are the least exploded appreciation in the past 10 years. Hong Kong being number 1, that's why they are coming into the social unrest. Even Malaysia, you can see that they have improved in their appreciation by 100%. We only increased by 38%, and this one is compiled by Global Property Guide. Now we look at this one, Singapore property oversupply, too many launches. I give you the answer. The en bloc owner will continue to buy more property because there are so many owners. They are trying ways and means to decouple. Why decouple? They try way and mean to buy under 99 and 1%. They're trying way and mean to buy under trust because they want to avoid paying ABSD. Imagine en bloc, we have 2017 and 2018. We have altogether close to 9,000 homeowner that is having a windfall. That means this 8,007, 8,008 owner will have ready cash to go into the market to snap up property without paying additional buyer stamp duty. They don't even need to use bank loan. So you can see that a couple, they will buy two, one for husband and one for the wife. If they have spare cash, they will buy another one for a child. If they have more, probably they will buy for the two children. So you see from one unit, it will multiply into 2, 3, or even 4. You can see that for those 9,000, if you times 3, it's 27,000 demand in the market. So this is talking about just only en bloc. So let's look at HDB. HDB, now this is the chart that worth pondering, because you look at the private market index. It has been going, no matter how bad the market is, you go up and down, up and down, up and down, and it moved up by 5% even since 2009 after the subprime. We can move about 5% average. You can see, because no matter how bad the market is, no matter how much they dip, they will move to another new height. Now there is this general rule of thumb is every new height is going to be higher the previous height. This is the golden rule. And you look at the HDB market since 2013, after the government introduced the MSR, the whole HDB market has almost, I can't say it's correct, it's moving sideways because the government is committed to maintain the stability of the HDB pricing. They don't want HDB to become a kind of speculative ground. So because before the 2011, we are talking about the previous National Minister for National Development say that we have put in place the asset enhancement program and including HDB. So after the 2011, the watershed time, the government say, no, we have to do something on HDB. That's why they introduced an MSR, and you can see the price is coming down. Let me give you more shocking graph. This is from our analytic suite, and you can see that the 3-room, 4-room, 5-room executive, it compiled according to compilation in 2010, executive was going for 520, 2013, 660. But it come to 2019, it's only 620, so it minus 6%. Now, when you're looking at all this, do you think that the HDB is going to be the bulk buyer into the new launches? I'm sure. Yeah. So let's quickly go into this one. The 10 most expensive cities, Singapore is ranked number 8, and you're looking at the per square meter. We are higher than many countries, but we are only 50% of Hong Kong. Singapore will continue to attract foreign buyers. Why? Because we have the pull factor, because of open economy, trusted government, well-connected, open door. This one I don't need to go through because all this is already been mentioned by our Prime Minister, by many consumer seminar. But what about, this is the pull factor. What about the push factor? The push factor is because the pandemic crisis make a lot of people very nervous in their home country. And they would like to look for a place that is safe. US-China tension, the trade war, and make a lot of people in China and Hong Kong very, very nervous. And they're just looking for a safe place where they can call home with a peaceful environment. And you can see that the Hong Kong national security law, this one is going to send a lot of expats out of Hong Kong and looking for a place that near China, and this only choice is Singapore. And the Chinese yen, because of all these turbulences, is going to be very unstable. So many mainland Chinese, they're so afraid that they want to bring out their money before it appreciated. And the other one is talking about Hong Kong social unrest. If you're looking at all this, how can you assure those expats in Hong Kong they are going to stay there peacefully, happily? They are looking to find a place to move on. And these are the reports by Bloomberg, by UBS, and many funds are moving into Singapore. And look at this. All those people used to snap a property in Hong Kong, gone missing. And this is a report done by CBRE and reported by Bloomberg. Now, I would say that I sum up. Singapore is a very safe harbor in the troubled seas. And many wealthy individuals taking refuge from the chaotic world. I give it a parting word. It seems impossible, but only you can make it. I am possible. When you say I am possible, nothing is impossible. And I thank you.